Okay, I believe we're actually live now on Prairie Views. We apologize for being just a few seconds late, but we're here. So, want to welcome you to Prairie Views, and today's guest is Lori Guth. She's our HR director, and I'd like for her to just kind of introduce herself a little bit and tell everyone a little bit about what you do.
All right, Gabe. Well, thank you. So I came to Prairie in June of 2022, bringing over 15 years of human resources experience in a variety of industries, nursing home care, mass transit, higher education, and retail. My role at Prairie is generalist in nature, which in the HR world means recruiting to benefits administration, to policies, to employee relations, and pretty much everything in between, anything and everything. Um,
Yeah,
what I find most meaningful to me, though, about the role is the being able to just every day uh, help and serve others. My days, they often take a turn from plan, obviously, and to be able to respond to employees' questions, whether that's related to benefits or procedures or just simply, hey, where's that form? And so for me, that's okay, because it definitely means that no 2 days are ever the same.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I bet. And I've worked with you long enough to know that that's absolutely true. Um,
Yes.
so talk a little bit about some of the unique challenges or even opportunities that somebody like you in HR has when it comes to working for an engineering and surveying firm. You know, you've worked for some other industries, but what's a little different about this role working for engineers and surveyors and scientists?
Sure. So I think that probably one of the current challenges that we're seeing is definitely in talent acquisition. So in this industry, needing a more specialized skill set, like for an engineer or a scientist or surveyor, there are not people flocking to the office to drop off an application, like HR might see in some other industries. And so finding the right fit for a role really takes more hunting, so to speak, from HR. Whether that might be getting us registered and sending representatives to a college career fair, or working with our marketing team on targeted recruiting campaigns, or even just simply encouraging our employee population to reach out in their network and or even at conferences that they attend and connecting with people there. One thing we do like to do is to provide a nice referral bonus incentive to our employees to help us find great people who are just like them.
Yeah, and the employees know the culture the best. You know, when we're working here, we know w- who makes a great employee here, who fits in well, and so it if we see somebody, obviously, that would fit that role well, that's a great incentive to say, hey, come work for Prairie, right?
Yes, correct. And word of mouth, that's where it's at. Finding, we know those people who are out there in our network, whether they're friends of friends or, and so just really getting the word out there. And the other thing that works well for Prairie, I think too, is our branding. We've had people, reach out and be like, yeah, so I saw your logo on a truck, and so that helps, and we like to provide prairie gear to new hires as well, to be able so that you know, they're a walking representation of prairie.
So, you talked a little bit about how it's interesting because the pool of candidates that we have to choose from to work at Prairie is smaller than some industries, just because it's a technical field. A lot of the folks that we need to hire have to have a state license to practice what they do. So, what do we look for specifically when we're looking for candidates in the engineering and surveying and environmental science realms? What makes a good candidate for us?
Well, I guess first off, I would say that we look for individuals who can demonstrate that they've got that can-do attitude. Someone who's willing to accept a challenge or solve a problem and not shy away from it. We like to see people who are responsive and have those really strong communication skills. Communication is super important, especially at Prairie. We do a lot of virtual environment work, collaborating that way, and so a focus on people as well. So people who really are interested in building relationships and not siloing themselves, and collaborative teamwork. I think that one of the things too, I think it's more popular in the sports world, but uh, at least in my dictionary, there's no I in team.
Wow,
Yeah,
no kidding. And that's interesting because, you know, I think a lot of engineers sometimes don't recognize the value of collaboration and good communication skills and those teamwork skills because, engineers don't do projects alone. They're
mm,
always working with other people, whether it be a sub that's working, a sub consultant, or a surveyor who's gathering their data, or just another engineer who's taking a different task in the same project. So, super important qualifications. I'm glad
mhm.
you mentioned those. Um,
Yeah, and I think too, like for anyone who wants to look at getting into human resources, for instance, too, um, you can't you can't do that solo at all. You have to collaborate with everyone, whether it's anyone ranging from employees, surveyors out in the field to top leadership. You have to be willing to and able to cross that and
yeah.
really collaborate together.
Well, I'm really hopeful that people that are considering applying for work here at Prairie Engineers, these next few questions are going to be super important. So if you don't get anything from the rest of the interview, listen to these next few questions, folks, because if you want to work for us, that you're going to get some good insider information here from Lori. Um, so when you're looking at resumes, Lori, what's some things that really catch your eye that make you really notice a candidate? And then what are some things that are like mistakes that candidates make specifically on their resumes?
Okay, well, I'm going to go old school here. I don't know that this is necessarily what is being advised to, say, new grads or people who are looking for that first job. But including a cover letter. A cover letter can make all the difference between moving that candidate on to the next step or not. A cover letter gives that person the chance to really showcase themselves and describe how their skill set might translate to my firm. I want to know that you are interested in joining my team and why. No, I don't just not just seeing the same resume that's been sent to many other similar firms, just based on I like to see there's been some thought and initiative put behind it, and not just rely on good old Chat GPT or Copilot or Gemini.
Right, right. And we can spot those still. I mean, AI
Mm,
generated content is still, at least right now, is pretty easy to spot. Um, and I like what you say. It's like it's just I'm in marketing. And so my role is to market our services to clients who need what we do. Well, I can't just send blanket messages out to everybody. It has to be targeted, it has to be specific, and a client has to know exactly what Prairie has to offer to make their lives a little easier or a little better. And you can't do that with those, AI generated mass messages, right? And same thing with a resume, with a candidate for a job. It's the same principle.
yes, yes, definitely. That cover letter is just going to uh, it's going to pop, and you want it
Yep.
to pop because that's where
Yep.
you need to tell them who you are and what you can do.
So let's say a candidate's done all that great work. They've given us a great cover letter, a resume. We're definitely interested in them, and they earn themselves that next spot to get to an interview with us. How can candidates best prepare to interview at Prairie Engineers? You got any insider tips for them?
I do, and I don't really want to give away the secrets of some of our very best candidates, but do your research. You need to do that so that you can connect who you are to who we are. And be ready to ask us questions too. Just doing, well, I don't really know, but we want our interviews to be two-way streets. So ask us those questions, have them prepared. And remember too, we've already read about your skill set and duties in your resume. So instead of regurgitating those, tell us why they'd be a good fit for the role we have.
Yeah. In marketing, we call that selling the benefits, not just the features. The features are this is who I am, this is my education, these are the projects I've worked on. This is, okay, that's all feature. Now connect what that is to how it's going to benefit Prairie Engineers. How's it going to benefit what you do for our company, right? That's
That's
what you want to
correct.
sell in an interview.
Yep, that is very correct.
Yeah. Um, so what are some initiatives or programs that Prairie has in place to support once you are hired and once you're part of the team? We want to, promote our employees' growth and their career development. What are some things that we have in the works or that we're doing to help our folks?
Yeah, sure. So, in addition to providing opportunities for employees to attend conferences, seminars, workshops, and seek out that additional training, we have recently launched a program that we're calling Prairie Connect. And Prairie Connect pairs a new hire or a navigator with a current employee or the guide. It helps the new hire navigate through their first several months at Prairie. Activities range from just getting to know each other personally, getting to know some of your coworkers, other people in the company, and exploring company history, to connecting with leadership and learning procedures. It's a really valuable resource to help those new hires transition through basically the who, what, when, where, why, and how Prairie Engineers. Just gives them a real comfort level, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Starting a
for
new job
sure.
is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And part of the hard part of it is just understand every company's got unique flavors to it. Every company has its own little processes and ways of making
Yes.
decisions. And it's like you have to kind of get familiar with all those things so that you can be successful. And that's what Prairie Connect's all about.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So we all know that the workforce changed a few years ago and has continued to change, and specifically, emphasis on flexibility and work-life balance and even remote work. So speak to some of those trends in the workforce and how is Prairie adapting to some of these trends?
Well, I think even before the pandemic, even though I wasn't here, um, I've historically been told that Prairie recognized the value that employees place on that flexibility and work-life balance. So that's been important for, quite some time. It's not a new thing. And so, how those benefits, the flexibility, can translate to a more productive workforce. There's definitely, don't get me wrong, there's definitely advantages to having teams in office. And we do encourage a more hybrid approach, in office days, some at home. But we've chosen to remain flexible. And so our employees have really responded favorably to that, both in attitude and in getting the job done. Uh, Not being all together all the time, all day, hasn't really dropped off our productivity. So that's great. Um, Prairie hires for the right person, not necessarily for where you live. And just a cool little tidbit about Prairie. So our employees span the coast of the U.S., from east to west, north to south, from South Carolina to California, and from Wisconsin to Texas. Another cool little tidbit for those who like numbers. Our employees represent 35% of the 50 U.S. states. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, we're about to run out of time here. I know we started just a few minutes late, so my last question for you, it's a pretty easy one. What's the best way that a job seeker can learn about our opportunities at Prairie?
Yep, so definitely the careers page of our website, prairieengineers.com. Lots of information, and not only about the career opportunities, but the benefits that are available and why employees chose to join our team. So you'll also find our opportunities on external job boards such as Indeed and also social media platforms like LinkedIn. Yeah, but definitely the careers page of the website.
Just interact with us, right? If you're interested, reach out to somebody, get a hold of Lori, get a hold of somebody that does a job similar to yours, and just start talking to us and letting us know you're interested, right? Always
That is,
good old fashioned,
that,
just make contact.
yep, that's correct. Don't
Yeah.
shy away. Yep.
Well, Lori, it's been awesome. You've given us a lot of good things to think about, and hopefully, a lot of folks that are considering Prairie will now apply and know how to apply correctly and get our attention, and we'll pick up some really great employees. So, this is Prairie Views, where all the engineers are strong, all the surveyors are good looking, and all the scientists are above average. And we'll see you next week when our guest will be Kyle Wagner.